Hello. Hello, I'm just seeing if this Facebook Live is actually working because I've got a thing whirring at the moment. So I think I might have to wait because it's taking its time. Hello, good morning. I'm Yasmin Sidhwa and I'm from Mandala Theatre Company. And today I'm going to talk to you about leaders of tomorrow, because I feel that's what we should be thinking about. We always have to think about now, but also the future. And obviously, during COVID-19, there's been a lot of time to look at the leaders. The leaders around the world have been in the spotlight, and some have dealt with the situation, a really difficult situation of an unknown pandemic. But some of them have really stepped into their leadership, and it seems to be that a lot of these have been women. And of course, before I've mentioned Jacinda Ardern from New Zealand, and you see somebody who is a leader and you can understand why she's a leader. You can see what it's about. It's not about power. It's not about her. It's not about just wanting to have status. The true leaders, the best leaders, the really engaging leaders are those that really want to facilitate others, that want to serve others, that want to help the world, that want to make the world a better place. And at the moment, if you look globally, it feels like a lot of our leaders are not there for the right reasons, are not there for others. They're not there to serve others. They're there to serve themselves, and that doesn't make for a powerful leader. So I think about leaders, and I think about, why do so many people not step into leadership? You know, that's also a question to think about. What are people afraid of? So often, and often it can be women, but it can also be people of colour, it can be disabled people, it can be people where they feel they have to prove themselves 100 times over, that they don't step into leadership, because it can often be so much more difficult, so much harder to get into that place. And they question themselves. We question ourselves. You know, do I have enough experience? Am I good enough? Have I got the right qualifications? Have I got the experience? And I think women especially are always asking themselves those questions. And it doesn't seem to be such an obvious one for men. And also it's a class thing, because I think in terms of class, there's a sense of entitlement and privilege where, when you've gone to certain schools, often not state schools, independent schools, you are almost trained to be entitled to be a leader. And that isn't right for society. Society needs to have leadership from every aspect of society, from, you know, all backgrounds, all classes, all genders, all people of colour, black people. It's so important. But we ourselves have to question why we don't do it and why we don't step up to it. And I want to take a quote from one of a great leader, in my opinion, Brené Brown, that you will all know about, the wonderful researcher and speaker. And I think her quote really tells us why we need to step into leadership. So she says, when we have the courage to walk into our story and own it, we get to write the ending. And that's so important. We can complain about leaders, we can, you know, criticize and judge, but so often we don't walk into our own leadership. And that's really important. And at this moment in time, it's so important that we get to write the story, that we get to write the ending, that we're not given, you know, we can tell our stories by being given crumbs or somebody else tells our story. But it's our story when we step into leadership. So just thinking about my journey into leadership, I mean, it was a really organic one. I was an actor for many, many years. And as an actor, you can have some control, but often not very much. And I was always an actor that really wanted to create ideas, to be part of the creative process, to interpret what we were looking at. It was so important to have a say in how the plays we were putting on and the characters we were creating, you know, what they were and what they would look like. So I think inside me was always a director wanting to come out. And, you know, if you worked with really good directors, they were much more about a creative process that was connected, that was all of us contributing to that creative process. And I think that way of working, where everybody is part of that process, but we know we have our roles, create something much more dynamic, much more authentic, and much more imaginative, actually. So yeah, I went from being an actor, or even at the same time as acting, moving into directing and running workshops. And so I started to gain experience in leadership, in the role of director and what that means, where you have the responsibility. But really, I think I moved into that leadership role as creative learning director when I was at Pegasus Theatre, and in that role I grew. For 17 years I was able to hone my experience. And one of the big things I think about a leader is how you work with your team, with the team. You have to be there to facilitate them, to empower them, to encourage them, to nurture them, and also to really be able to be honest, to say things that are uncomfortable and be clear, you know. But for me, nurturing and giving people in our team responsibility, so they feel like they are trusted to take things on. They are trusted to go and create something and share it back, and we can give feedback and we can input. But if your team feels like everything's controlled by you, that they have no freedom to be creative, to be imaginative, then you get a team that is sort of one-dimensional and controlled. And obviously it's really important as a leader that you get your team to be connected, to be honest with each other, to admit our failings, to admit that we don't know everything, to admit that we don't know anything, to share that we need help, to say that we haven't got all the answers. And so often, you know, we look at what's going on and we see leaders that lie to us. We see leaders that don't know what they're doing or are serving their own self-interest. And that is not what leadership is about. Leadership has to be about serving others. That's why we're here. And the best leaders are the ones that are truly altruistic. So that brings me on to our leaders of tomorrow. So important. This is why I think I've chosen to always to work with young people, because they have an openness, an energy, a creativity, and an honesty that often gets lost as we move into older adulthood. And also I work with young people because they are the future. They are the leaders of tomorrow. And I want to be there, helping them, facilitating them, encouraging them, helping them to rise up to be those future leaders. So Mandala is actually setting up 3 new training courses from the autumn, and I'm so excited about this. Because I hope we'll be able to actually do the training in person, but otherwise there'll be an online version, and then we'll see if we can also meet in person. But the 3 areas, the first one is about youth leadership. So I'm going to be working with a group of up to 15 young people aged 16 to 25, and we are going to be exploring through a 12-week course, and there'll be a series of these, how to be a leader in terms of facilitating workshops. How do you plan a workshop? How do you work with younger people to enable them and facilitate them to be creative? How do you work with others to create a team? How do you become a director? So they get opportunities to learn how to be an assistant director. What are you looking for? How do you shape images and pictures? And also, how do we find our voice? Finding our voice and what we say, and feeling confident in ourselves, feeling like we're listened to, feeling like what we say, our viewpoints and the way we want to express ourselves are validated. They're given value, so that young people are enabled to be on panels, to speak their truth, to share their opinions. And so this course, I'm so excited, because some of those young people, or many of those young people in the youth leadership course, will then get to work in a paid way as assistants with our younger group. So we're setting up a 12 to 15 group as well. So that's one of the leadership courses. The other one is about, if you're more into creating theatre and you want to think about how you create theatre for social justice, which is Mandala's purpose. How do you do that? How do you decide on the areas you want to look at? What stimulus do you use? How do you do the research? What are the ways that you take the research and transform it into creative practice and into a piece of theatre? So that will be another 12-week course, again with about 15 young people, maybe up to 20 of you. And then finally, it's not so much leadership, but it is about acting. It's about theatre of being. That is the sort of theatre that I've found the wording to describe the way I work with actors. And it's about theatre of being, how you embody a character, how you live their experience on stage, how you are being, not acting. And so in a way that is about leadership, because I think there are many actors that don't have that ability, because they're taught to play act, and instead of having this sense of connection to the story and to the character. So that's going to be another 12-week course, and we're going to repeat these through the year. So if you're interested and you're age 16 to 25, and we especially work with young people from Black, Asian, minority ethnic and white working class backgrounds, but we don't say no to other young people. So if you're white middle class, of course you're welcome. But yeah, do get in touch. At the moment, our new website is being developed, and it will be up soon. So, you know, we will be putting information out in a newsletter. So if you want to, or there will also be information on the new website, which will be launched in the next couple of weeks. But otherwise, if you want to email me, that's really fine. You can go on to the current website and email info@mandalatheatre.co.uk, because places are going to fill up, but there'll be more detail about cost and timings on the website, the new website. So I'm just going to finish up with, I want to encourage young people out there who feel like, how could I be a leader? Who feel like nobody listens to my opinion, who feels, I don't know what to say, I don't have enough knowledge about this, challenge yourself. You do. You will. It's all. And are you wanting to step into leadership for the right reasons? If you want to make a difference in this world, step into leadership. And yeah, don't be afraid. Ask for help. Seek out somebody to be a mentor. Be that person that can ask the questions in a meeting that other people are thinking but they never say because they don't want to look stupid. Trust yourself. Be vulnerable. You would be one of the best leaders because you are able to admit your vulnerability. You know, none of us, I've been doing this for 30 years. I don't have the answers. Sometimes I question, why am I doing what I'm doing? Do I know enough? Can I do this? We have to do that questioning, because if not, it's like we're not going to change and adapt and learn, and learning never stops. We always have to keep learning. So I hope you'll join me. I hope you'll join Mandala Theatre Company, and any of you out there listening to this discussion. We're trying to expand our mailing list and get as many of you to sign up to the newsletter as possible. So again, if you're interested in being part of the newsletter, please just send me an email, info@mandalatheatre.co.uk, and say newsletter, and give us your email. Okay, thank you so much. Please take care and enjoy your day. Sending you lots of love, and thank you for listening.